but it was great. You want to get to know a group of guys quickly, you go on a trip like this with them, and you probably get to know them better than you would in years of attending church with them. So it was great working with all you guys. I really enjoyed it. And I would add that if there's anybody out there who has thought about going on a trip, but up to this point has not done it, maybe it's a little bit out of their comfort zone, whatever, I would urge you to reconsider maybe going sometime. I think you would really be rewarded for it. So that's all I have to say.
My name's Jed. It was my first year going out, and we started coming to church here whenever this opened up here, and Herschel came to me and was like, hey, do you do anything in construction and anything like that? And I was like, well, actually I do. And he's like, well, you should maybe consider going out to South Dakota. And I said, well, I'll think about it. And he kept asking, and I was like, well, I don't know. And then finally I was like, well, I'll go. So it was, I have no regrets on going out there. It was a perfect experience to get to know a great group of guys. What was really nice to see out there was that we were doing something good for an area that really didn't have much, there's not much good there. And to see that BAM really helps the community and is willing to, not only what's his is what's everybody else's. And that's what was really nice to see. And just really help out was what was the good highlight of the trip for me.
Well, my name's Micah Hirschberger. Coming here for about a year and a half, 2 years. And, right when I went, I wasn't kind of looking for an excuse not to go. And I was always like, work and, schedule won't work out. And it always just, keep it on the back burner. And then Dwayne said something, you should go or whatever. And I thought about it, and I was like, well, I'll at least talk to my schedule guy, see if I could maybe get off. And it kind of worked out, so I ended up going. But no, it was an awesome experience. And just, a lot of the guys I see Sunday mornings for an hour barely, and you say hi, bye, whatever. And just going out and, you're with each other for a week, you get to know each other really good. And you just, group of guys, just, you talk, work together, you just have a bunch of fun. And one of the things that's really stood out to me is one day a couple of us went into town to this one house where I had hurt my knee, or my knee was acting up, so I wasn't much of help getting the tree off the roof. But I was just talking to the wife was there, and she has I think she had 9 kids in the house. It was a little mobile home. And I think most of them, some of them were hers, and some of them she was just taking care of them. And just, how she takes care of them, how she fends for herself and the kids. Her husband's home every so often. And just talking to the kids and their school life and just how they survive, basically. It's more like, here we live, they survive. They have to fight for themselves. They have to go get food. They have to go get, they don't know where it comes from tomorrow usually, and just the survival of it. And, just an amazing experience. And, anyone who wants to go, I just say, just go. You'll enjoy it. If you don't know anyone, you'll get to know them. That's not a problem. So, yeah.
I always feel like when people say we get to know each other real well, for some reason it's pointed at me. But, no, I think was it our 5th trip? 5th? Number 5. And every time, I know for me that I go out, it's just another eye-opening experience. You see something new breaks your heart. Something new, you see that little glimmer of hope here and there. Building the barn for BAM was huge. I don't know how many texts I kept getting from BAM in the days that we got back. It was just like, hey, thanks. I can't believe this. He'd send me a picture of him standing in it. He's like, I can't wait, man. So it's just really cool. And even on his Facebook about how many times he took a picture with the barn and talked about getting kids in there and getting things underway with it. It's really cool that this year we could give back into BAM because he's the type that just gives. You're out there and you're talking to him and he's, I do this, I do that. I do this and I help you out here, and it's just really cool to just give back into him and love on him. Yeah, I mean, like I said, every year is different, a little bit different group of guys, but every year it's just like you hate to come back, but the feel and sound of your own shower in bed just calls. Yeah.
It is my second time out there, and I just think it's great how we can go out there and be an example for Bam, seeing how he gives and provides for the people out there, and I think it's just amazing how we can go out there and try and do the same for him, and just a great group of guys getting to know each other, and I guess that's it. You're up.
So I hate talking, but is my fifth time out there, and I think every time I go out there, I leave a little bit more of my heart out there. We get into a routine here, and I was just reminded how nice we have it. There's people out there that they didn't know where their food was coming from this morning. They don't know where they're going to get lunch. That's in America, guys. Sorry, I'm getting tore up. I wrote down some statistics of Pine Ridge. Average life expectancy of a male is 48, female is 52. There's only one country in the world that has a lower life expectancy, and that's Haiti. It's the poorest county in the United States. 97% of the population's income is between $2,600 and $3,500 a year. 90% unemployment rate. 70% high school dropout rate. Teenage suicide rate is 150% higher than the national average. Infant mortality rate is 300% higher than the national average. Estimated 17 people living in each house. Over 33% of the homes have no electric or water. Over 60% of the houses have black mold. And the weather conditions can be really drastic, anywhere from 110 to minus 50. And if you're living in a house with no water and no electric, it can get brutal. When we were out there, there was a tornado that came through that literally just took a couple mobile homes and just flipped them right over. And we went, somebody had a crazy idea to go into the grocery store. It's a dry reservation. So we went into the grocery store and spent $150 on gift cards for the grocery store, and put them with a plate of cookies and took them out and handed them out. And it tore me up. I didn't know there was such poverty in the United States. We have kids that literally come up to the car. Herschel couldn't even get out of the vehicle because they were hugging him and trying to get the cookies out of his hand. I think sometimes we get in a routine. We don't realize it is real. And I look forward to going out there as often as we can. And we decided to try something different this year. You'll see stuff over here. We went around while we were out there and bought from anybody sitting on the sidewalk outside the grocery store to a little booth at Wounded Knee or wherever. And we bought all this stuff, and all the proceeds to this will go directly towards the missions fund. I know it's a little bit higher price than something you can get, but these are actual Lakotas. The people, they made those. And so if you can, buy them. I know they're expensive, but you're helping so that there's not a 90% unemployment rate. We need to create a market for them so that they can have the funds to buy what they need. So, yeah. Look at it, buy some stuff, and we have connections where we can get more shipped in, but we want to see how this goes. So I encourage you guys to, we're making a difference. We really are. And thank you.
I know we're supposed to talk about the reservation, but let me talk for just a minute about these men that just shared with you. They're my heroes. Each and every one of them, I jokingly say I go on these trips every year so I'll know how to pray for people. Zach, I pray for a lot more than others. But you do get to know the heart of these men, and it is a highlight for me when I see selflessness in each one of these guys in their own way. The Bible says there's no greater love than those who are willing to lay down their life, to give away their life for someone else. And this is real, practical, right here, right now examples of men who do that. And so I thank each one of them, but I thank each one of you because you know what? We wouldn't have been able to go out there without people making pizza, selling pizza, delivering pizza, donating, and giving from their hearts to make those trips possible. And it's not too early. I want to just plug real quick. We are going to do Christmas boxes for the children on the reservation again this year. Last year we did 250. I'm feeling ambitious and say we're going to do 400 this year. We're going to do an auction again, and that tentative date for that is October 25th, but it'll be sometime towards the end of October that will raise the funds at the very least to send out the Christmas boxes for the children. Hopefully there'll be a whole lot that we can, there's just neat stuff happening on the reservation. So it's not all doom and gloom. One of the things that, Bam talked about, we were already thinking, and he's like right in with it, we want to do a large community garden and help them with doing that sometime in the spring. And so there's lots of really neat things that are happening. And so I want you all to know and to feel, first and foremost, when you give towards the Pine Ridge mission here, there's like no administrative costs, whatever. Whatever is given goes directly out to the reservation and is used directly to benefit the people out there who have such a great need. And so I want you to know that you can feel very comfortable in giving and supporting the work that we do there on the reservation. And there's so much to do that honestly, we could spend the next probably 10 years going out and there still would be work to do. There is, well, tell my story first, then I'll preach at you for like 5 minutes. So you guys saw the pictures of the soup in the video. Hot sauce means a very different thing out there than it does here. So Bam made us buffalo soup one night, which, by the way, if you're invited into one of their homes and they prepare you a meal, that's a very good thing. It's a sign that you have been welcomed and received. So he made us buffalo stew, and after everybody's dishing up, he goes, "Oh yeah, boys, I got some hot sauce." Now I'm thinking our hot sauce comes in a bottle. He brings out this bowl, and it's got like these jalapenos and all this stuff in it. And so, of course, all of our tough guys, "Oh yeah, I love hot stuff," And we start hearing, "Woo, ah, woo, woo," yeah. It's bad though. So I think Bam was kind of gonna get the outsider. So he's eating something and he's like, "Oh boys, my own hot sauce got me." He's blowing his nose and wiping his eyes. It wasn't bad after the first 10 seconds because everything just went numb. Yeah. So yeah, those were not regular peppers. I don't know what they did to them, but yeah, it was quite interesting. Highlights from my trip. There were several things that happened, but a few things that really stood out to me. So one, we went into a store, and the lady was, being polite. And, "Where are you guys from?" And we're from Ohio. And, "Oh, what are you doing out here?" We cut wood. We help Bam. We cut wood. And she said, "Oh, you're the woodcutters from Ohio. Do you know you guys helped my mom all last winter? She was able to heat her home because of what you guys did." And I don't know if it meant a whole lot to her. Apparently it did, but it really meant a lot to me. Because, you get the feeling that, we're making a difference, but to hear, and there were several people that said, when we went into town, now I'll just put it in perspective. The first year we went out and we went into the town of Pine Ridge, it was very, very much apparent that we were outsiders and we were not welcome. And so for the next couple of years, honestly, we pretty much stayed out of town and just worked out on Bam's ranch and cut wood. Well, this year, we spent quite a bit more time in town, and the amazing thing that happened is everywhere we would go, when we mentioned who we were, people knew us and were happy to see us. And, Dwayne said somebody had a crazy idea. It was him. So some of the ladies had made cookies, and he said, "I think we ought to go in town and just give out these plates of cookies." And I'm like, I'm thinking, like me, if some stranger walked up and like, "Hey, I made cookies for you," I'm going to be like, "What'd you do to them?" And be honest, I probably wouldn't eat them. All right, I might eat your cookies, but just a stranger, no. And so I'm a little skeptical, like, well, how is this going to work? We're just showing up and saying, "Hey, we brought cookies." And then he said, "Well, why don't we go stop at the grocery store too?" There's one store for the whole reservation. So we go in and we bought some gift cards, and so we attached these gift cards to the plate of cookies, and we start stopping at these different homes just with a plate of cookies. And you would have thought we were giving out, $1,000 bills and plates of steak. I mean, everybody was so appreciative and thankful. I even had one guy that was so happy to see us. He said, "Oh man, thank you so much. If my weed plant was finished growing, I'd give you some." I'm good on that front. Thank you. Dwayne was like, "How long?" No. then there was, you guys saw the picture of me and the little guy, peeking around the corner. So we get to this house, and I just text my wife and daughters right after it, and I'm just like, oh my Lord, my heart is broken. I literally, I'm stepping out of the car. So I had this little spiel that, hey, we're from Ohio, we help BAM, we just wanted to pass out some. And before I could even start into my little spiel, these kids were like glommed onto my leg, and one of them was reaching up and grabbing the plate of cookies out of my hand. And I just wished I could have picked them up and put them in the car and took them home. And the lady came out of the house and she said, the storm that came through, she said, this tree fell on my house. And I was trying to get somebody to help me, and I just wondered, can you guys help me? And so I'm like, of course. And we go back out and we get saws, and, I tell you about knowing the guys that you work with. So I asked Micah, would he come along? And you see people's hearts in certain moments, and as a pastor, it's special to me. But I watched this guy as he was just, his knee was messed up. He's limping. He's just like, I felt bad about asking him to come with me, But these little kids, and he's just loving on them and talking with them, and it was just like you could see Jesus pouring out of this man to these children. And that was amazing to me. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up. John chapter 9, verse 4 says, I must do the work of him who sent me. And while it is day, we should work. We should work while it's day. And I was thinking, just lots of things have just gripped my heart, being a part of this and being a part of a church that embraces reaching the least, the last, the left behind. And I couldn't help but think about, yesterday when Marcia passed away, and Friday when I was up visiting with her. To me, when it says work while it's day, I think about the seasons of life. In the morning you're born, you got the noon, then eventually night is coming. And I think that Jesus is saying, listen, we all have work that we can and should be doing. There are people that we are supposed to impact. There's a difference that we're supposed to make. Work while it's day. Because the night's coming and you'll be limited in what you can do. And so I want to leave a challenge with this church, with you people. There's some folks, maybe you aren't a part of our church, and that's okay. Work while it's day. There's work that you can do, whether it's South Dakota or Millersburg. There's work that you can and you should do. And I think Dwayne's right. I think sometimes we get so comfortable and we get so into our daily routine and our stuff, and and I don't care if you're here and you think, oh, I'm pretty poor. You have no idea what poor is. Literally, a lady pulls up one of the last days we were there. She pulls up in a car, and she's got these two little kids hanging out the back of the car, and she says, I called the tribe because I don't have any food in the house. I called the tribe trying to find food, and they said they didn't have anything, but the vice president of the tribe told me to go out to BAMS. He said, you guys were here and that you could help me. And so we were able to give her some of the things that we, Harvey's Market had sent out some stuff, and some people in the church had put together boxes of stuff. We were able to put together a food package for her, and then I start thinking, I'm like, she's like, I don't literally have nothing in the house. And I'm like, well, we've got eggs, we've got some bacon. This was our food, but I'm like, you know what? I'm okay. And so we gave her what we had left, and she's literally in tears. I didn't know how I could tell my children we didn't have anything to eat tonight, and you guys have really, really made a deep impact in my life. We are called to do the work of him that sent us. Let us work while it's day. The night is coming, and it's difficult to work at night. There's something that you are supposed to do. Maybe you're supposed to go on one of these trips with us. Maybe you're supposed to do something here locally. Maybe there's something that God has put on your heart for somebody that you know that's struggling, that's hurting. And I just want to leave you today with this. Work while it's day for you. God bless you. Let's pray. God, we just want to thank you for all of your goodness. You have been so good to us. You blessed us so abundantly. And there are times that we forget how blessed we are. We take for granted the things that we have. And for that, we ask your forgiveness. I pray that we be people who live lives of gratitude, of appreciation for the things that we have, that we be people who are generous and live to bless those who are less fortunate than we are. God, I just thank you for those who contributed to this trip that we just took. Thank you for taking us there safely, bringing us home safely. I thank you for the plans for future growth in life and health that you have for those, our friends on the Pine Ridge Reservation. I pray as we leave this place that you would be with us. May you stir in the heart of someone here today that perhaps it's their turn, their time to work while it's day. God, I pray that as we leave this place, that your spirit would follow after us during our time of just fellowship and picnic and food. Bless the food, bless each one that has come. And as we grow closer to one another, may we grow closer to you, and may we be the change, the light, the life that we wish to see in this world around us. We thank you for all of this in Jesus' name. Amen. God bless you. You're dismissed. Go in peace, never in pieces.